Ian woke up and was shocked to see his girlfriend lying beside him. Samantha had died in a car accident the night before. Ian was so scared that he couldn't speak. When Samantha moved closer, Ian panicked, feeling like he was seeing a ghost. But when Samantha hugged him warmly, Ian felt safe again, like a happy child. He tried to explain what had happened yesterday, but Samantha smiled and said it was only a bad dream. Samantha kissed him, and Ian slowly calmed down. But then Samantha said the same words she had said yesterday and did the same things. Ian also noticed she was wearing the same clothes as before. This made him nervous again, and his thoughts went back to that unlucky day. That morning started badly. Samantha tried to surprise Ian by wearing something sexy, but Ian was busy thinking about work. Samantha wanted to cook a big breakfast, but Ian said he was late and didn't have time. While talking, Samantha burned her hand on the coffee pot. They left together in a hurry. On the way, Ian kept practicing his funding presentation. He was so focused that he forgot it was Samantha's graduation concert that day. When they separated, a motorcyclist splashed soda on Samantha, so she went back home to change. Ian kept practicing and didn't notice much around him. While using hand gestures, he hit a mailbox and broke his watch. The watch stopped at 1 o'clock, but Ian ignored it because he was thinking about his speech. Back home, Samantha found Ian's notebook. She knew how important the presentation was, so she called her best friend and rushed to Ian's office. When she arrived, Ian was already presenting confidently. Trying to help, Samantha suddenly walked into the meeting room with the notebook, but Ian calmly took out another notebook from his bag. Samantha realized Ian didn't need her help. Her interruption embarrassed everyone, and because of it, Ian's carefully prepared plan failed. That evening, Ian took a taxi to attend Samantha's concert. The driver noticed he looked sad and started talking to him. Ian opened up and talked about his relationship. Samantha was an American violin student in London. Ian was a traditional British man who cared mostly about work. He was serious, not romantic, and bad at expressing feelings. He loved Samantha but didn't know how to make her happy. He even forgot she already owned the red sweater he planned to give her. He missed her concert because of work. They loved each other, but were slowly growing apart. The driver told Ian to appreciate changes and gifts because one day people might never meet again. Ian didn't fully understand, but he knew he loved Samantha. After the concert, he brought flowers and booked a restaurant. As they were leaving, Samantha's student Oliver ran over. Samantha said it was her favorite teacher's performance and wanted her father to give blessings. Ian became impatient because of the delay. When Oliver gave a card, Ian only thought about being late for dinner. He focused only on urgent things and ignored the small changes around him. Even at the restaurant, Ian kept talking only about himself. Because the business deal failed, he turned off his phone so Samantha couldn't reach him. He said he needed time to calm down and think about their future. Like many straightforward men, Ian spoke whatever came to his mind without thinking about how his words might hurt Samantha. He talked about settling down in London, getting married and having children. He thought he was planning for their future, but his unclear words made Samantha think he wanted to break up. Samantha didn't like London. As an American, she didn't want to live there. If she ever settled down, it would only be because of Ian, not because it made her happy. That was the difference between them. Ian's world revolved around himself and his plans. Samantha's world revolved around love and staying true to herself. She didn't want to lose who she was just to be with someone. Still, she was slowly getting used to sacrificing her own wishes. What should have been a happy dinner turned cold and uncomfortable. Angry and hurt, Samantha got into a taxi. Ian stood outside, helpless, trying to stop her. He didn't know how to make the person he loved happy. At that moment, the taxi driver suddenly said, "Get in or get out. It's your choice." Ian looked up and realized it was the same driver he had met earlier that day. This time, those words felt meaningful. Then the taxi clock showed 1 o'clock. Samantha couldn't take it anymore. Her head felt dizzy and confused. She slammed the car door shut, and the taxi drove off. Seconds later, tragedy struck. Another car crashed into them head-on. Ian screamed Samantha's name, but nothing could stop what happened next. At the hospital, the doctors tried everything, but Samantha couldn't be saved. Ian collapsed in pain. He wished he could die instead of his girlfriend. After returning home, the room felt full of memories, but Samantha was gone forever. For the first time, Ian opened Samantha's diary, which he had never been allowed to read before. Inside were their shared memories. He also found a sheet of music, a love song Samantha had written for Ian. Samantha had planned to practice and sing it to him, but now she never could. That night, holding the diary tightly, Ian fell asleep, hoping everything was just a nightmare. She wished that when she woke up, everything would be normal again. The next morning, Ian woke up and saw his broken watch was completely fine. Still half asleep, he hugged Samantha's diary. Then the shocking scene happened again. Samantha was alive, lying beside him. Only when Ian felt her warmth did he believe it wasn't a dream. Confused and frightened, Ian listened as Samantha reminded him not to be late for work. Suddenly, Ian understood. If yesterday wasn't a dream, then time had reset. Unsure but alert, Ian rushed to stop Samantha from burning herself while making coffee. Samantha avoided the burn using a towel, but moments later, she burned the same spot with a curling iron. Ian's fear returned. To stop the soda accident, Ian took a different route. He saw the same motorcyclist. This time, he quickly hugged Samantha, avoiding the splash. But seconds later, another passerby spilled soda on her anyway. Ian realized that even if details changed, the same events still happened. This wasn't a dream or coincidence. But Ian couldn't explain everything to Samantha. He couldn't tell her that she had died yesterday. There was no proof. To make Ian feel better, Samantha decided to go with him to the office. Since the watch had broken yesterday, this time nothing happened, and the watch stayed fine. Still, Ian knew this didn't mean yesterday was fake. He decided to keep watching carefully to find out whether time was truly repeating. At the meeting, Ian kept watching the door. Yesterday, Samantha had suddenly walked in, so Ian expected the same thing to happen. But this time, nothing happened. Just when Ian thought the scene from yesterday wouldn't repeat, Samantha quietly appeared at the door. She saw the notebook in her own hand and realized Ian didn't need help, so she didn't go inside. The presentation went very well. Ian spoke confidently and successfully got the investment. This made him feel a little relieved. He realized that even if the same day repeated, the results could be different. Later, just like yesterday, Ian got into a taxi. To his surprise, the driver was the same man again. He remembered what he had said before. If people never meet again after tomorrow, they should cherish today. Now it felt like the driver already knew everything that would happen. Ian asked him questions, but the driver only gave unclear answers, saying that anything was possible. When Ian tried to pay before getting out, the driver said the fare was already paid yesterday. This made Ian realize that what happened yesterday was real. Ian didn't know how to go back or change the past. The only thing he could think of was to take Samantha away before night came, so she wouldn't get into that taxi again. Ian ran through the streets and rushed to Samantha's workplace, but she wasn't there that day. He wanted to ask Samantha's favorite student, Oliver, but we were many kids named Oliver, and none of them looked familiar. Samantha's phone also wasn't answering. Ian kept searching nearby streets. After a long time, he saw someone who looked like Samantha. But when he got closer, he realized it was just a stranger wearing similar clothes and hairstyle. Even when Ian returned home, Samantha was nowhere to be found. Luckily, Ian found the address of Samantha's friend in his notebook. He went there and knocked for a long time, but no one answered. As Ian searched for a key, a janitor came out of the hallway. While talking to him, Ian noticed his name tag. His name was Oliver. At the same time, he said the exact same words as yesterday. At that moment, Ian finally understood. Yesterday was repeating. Some details had changed. The order of events, the faces of people, but the ending stayed the same. Samantha was meant to die. Could fate be changed? Ian didn't know, but she knew she had to try because she loved Samantha too much to give up. Finally, Ian found Samantha at her friend's shop. Seeing her alive and safe, Ian felt huge relief. He grabbed Samantha's hand and wanted to leave immediately. But as they stepped outside, another small accident happened, making Ian even more anxious. Ian begged Samantha to leave London with him. They bought tickets and boarded a train. Ian then realized the train was going toward his hometown, a place he never talked about and tried to avoid. Samantha had often asked about Ian's past, but Ian always changed the subject. Hearing that Samantha wanted to see his past, Ian's eyes filled with tears. He felt guilty for hiding it for so long. Ian's hometown was in the mountains. It was quiet and wide, with only the two of them there. They walked together, hand in hand, along a rough mountain path. Suddenly, heavy rain began to fall. Even though they were soaked, they smiled at each other. They reached a small stone house, completely wet. This was where Ian grew up. The house looked old and small, but Samantha felt warm and happy there. Ian tried to turn on the light, but his arm brushed against the wall. He rolled up his sleeve and saw his watch was broken again. The time had stopped at 11. Ian realized the curse had followed them. Tears filled his eyes as he looked at Samantha. Inside, his thoughts were as wild as the storm outside. Samantha smiled at him. Ian smiled back and said nothing about the watch. He gently asked, "If you had only one day left, what would you do?" Samantha joked, "I'd say everything I feel and spend every second with you." Ian kissed her, lightly teasing her simple wish. In the firelight, there were no promises, only Samantha's kiss. The flames quietly watched their moment together. Later, they went to a bar in town. It used to belong to Ian's father and was a place Ian often visited as a child. His father was once his hero, but later became an alcoholic. After Ian turned 15, his father was never sober again. The hero in his heart slowly disappeared, and he died like that. These memories deeply hurt Ian. That's why he never talks about his past and focuses so much on work. Ian wants a happy family, one that won't fall apart because of money or pressure. He hopes his father, wherever he is now, knows that he always loved him as his hero. When Samantha heard this, she comforted Ian gently. She said death doesn't end love. No matter where someone is, the feeling of home and love still remains. She softly wiped Ian's tears away. Warm light from the window filled the room with peace. As they left the bar, Ian planned to go somewhere else, but Samantha said she needed to return to London. That day was her graduation concert. She had spent 16 years playing the violin to graduate from the best music academy. It was her lifelong dream. Looking at Samantha's hopeful face, Ian finally agreed. They walked arm in arm across the town's stone bridge. Since the ending couldn't be changed, Ian decided to give Samantha the perfect night. Back in London, they went first to the Ferris wheel. Samantha had always wanted to see the city lights from above. She was so happy that she even forgot her fear of heights. For her, this was a perfect day. At home, while Samantha prepared for her concert outfit, Ian accidentally saw a music sheet inside her diary. Besides playing the violin, Samantha also had a beautiful singing voice. Because she lacked confidence, she had never sung for others. But now, knowing time was running out, Ian didn't want her talent to be wasted. Ian quietly took the music sheet, lied that he was going to work, and left the house. Before Samantha's performance began, she received flowers and a card from Ian. The card said, "The day has come. I will love you forever. Ian." Samantha felt confused, but she smiled and completed her graduation performance perfectly. Everyone thought the concert was finished, but then Samantha suddenly saw something familiar, the love song she had written for Ian. It turned out that Ian never went to work after leaving home. Instead, he quietly went to a print shop and made 75 copies of Samantha's music. Ian then told everyone at the concert their love story and gave each person a copy of the song. Samantha was confused and didn't understand what was happening. Then Ian walked onto the stage, introduced Samantha to the audience, and invited her to sing. Only then did Samantha realize that all of this was Ian's plan. She felt nervous and scared, standing in front of Ian and hundreds of people. But as the music began, her fear slowly turned into confidence. She sang the song she had written from her heart. In that moment, it felt like only she and Ian existed in the world. When the song ended, the audience was deeply moved. Everyone stood up and applauded. Samantha had finally achieved her dream of singing bravely in front of others. She bowed to the audience and then ran straight into Ian's arms. They held each other tightly, sharing pure happiness. This became one of the most surprising and joyful days of Sawa's life, all because of Ian, who once didn't understand romance. After the concert, they went back to the same restaurant where they had argued the day before. This time, there were no misunderstandings, only warmth and love. Under the soft lights, Ian asked Samantha to close her eyes. He then put a bracelet on her wrist. It was a graduation gift he had carefully prepared. Each charm had meaning. The music notes and violin stood for her studies and career. The train meant their journey together. The Eiffel Tower represented the place Samantha dreamed. And the frying pan symbolized the happy family Ian hoped for. Most important was the heart charm. It stood for Ian's heart, which he was giving completely to Samantha. Samantha couldn't believe that Ian, the man who once only cared about work, could be so thoughtful and loving. When he learned how to care, he became gentle and warm. This was the happiest day of her life and the most perfect day since they had been together. But she didn't know that somewhere ahead, a taxi was waiting, one that would soon take her life, as fate quietly moved closer. After dinner, heavy rain suddenly began to fall. They ran into the rain while waiting for a car. Ian looked ahead and saw the familiar intersection where accidents often happened. At that moment, the traffic light felt like a countdown. Ian knew their time together was running out. Every second felt like the last moment with the person he loved most. Finally, Ian said the words he had been holding in his heart for so long, "I love you." He thanked Samantha for teaching him how to love. He said that whether he had 5 minutes or 50 years left, his life would always be filled with loving Samantha. Hearing this, Samantha's eyes filled with tears. Standing in the heavy rain, they shared one final kiss. Then the taxi quietly stopped in front of them. It felt like a car sent by fate. When Samantha asked if they should get in, Ian stepped into the back seat without hesitation. Looking into the mirror, he saw the driver. It was the same mysterious person from before. This time it felt like fate itself, giving Ian one last choice. As they reached the intersection again, the clock struck 1 o'clock. Ian's breathing became fast. Memories rushed through her mind. He prayed with all his heart that the crash wouldn't happen. But the next second, another car slammed into them from the side. In that moment, Ian covered Samantha with his body and took the full impact himself. This time, Samantha survived. Only then did Ian fully understand the meaning of this repeating day. Maybe he had known the ending all along, and when fate demanded a life, Ian chose his own instead of Samantha's. Samantha survived, but she broke down in tears. Holding Ian tightly, she cried for the love she had lost and the life they could no longer share. In the end, she chose to live on, carrying Ian's love and blessing with her. 5 months later, Samantha had slowly healed. She prepared to leave London. Before leaving, she looked around the room, touching the familiar walls filled with memories of her and Ian. It was hard to leave, but it was Ian's love that gave her strength. With that love in her heart, Samantha moved forward bravely to chase her dreams. Years later, Samantha becomes a singer. On stage, she sings love songs written for Ian. During the day, she often returns to the hill filled with their memories. That place holds the most beautiful night they ever shared. Now only she remains there. But she knows Ian's departure is not the end, only a distance filled with longing. Love Again is an eternal love story directed by George, starring Jennifer Love and Paul Nichols, released in 2004. Ian and Samantha's story begins with small arguments, missed concerts, and ignoring each other's dreams. These moments slowly hurt them, like a blunt knife cutting deeper over time. When death arrives as destiny, Ian's struggle inside the time loop shows another meaning of love. Love is not just romantic nights under the moon, but the courage to face regret. The most shocking moment is when Ian chooses to accept death, even though he knows what will happen. At that moment, the desire to change fate disappears, and true love is revealed. Ian's death is not just sacrifice, it is the final awakening. He learns that love is not control, but letting go. Even in the repeated day, what truly changes is not time, it is the heart. The film's deepest message is that the best love is not perfect, it is real. It is not magic that changes cause and effect, but the courage to do what feels impossible. Ian helps Samantha grow through his sacrifice, and she carries that love forward. Broken memories become the ground where life continues to grow. The director uses a long, rotating shot over the places they shared, as if saying that true love exists beyond time. We often ask, if we could do it again, what would we change? But forget that life has no replay button. Regrets, missed moments, unspoken feelings, and routines that replace care will one day hurt us deeply. The film removes the illusion of modern love. We measure love with things, but forget to listen to each other's hearts. Samantha's song, Take My Heart Back, is not just a goodbye, it is a call to live fully in the present. As the mysterious driver says, just love him, life's value. But whether we can say, I love you, as if it is the last time. Love is not something for the future. It is something we must do now. May we not wait for fate to force us to understand this. May we turn ordinary moments into true expressions of love. That's all for today's movie.
अब आओ ना फिर से मिल जाओ ना फिर से जलाओ ना मुझे मिटाओ ना यूं दिल से अब आओ ना फिर से मिल जाओ ना फिर से जलाओ ना मुझे मिटाओ ना यूं दिल से कोई प्यार ना दे यूं जैसे मुझको चाहती है तू ज़माने के जैसी न बन मेरे यार जैसी है तू ज़माना जलाता मुझे लगाती गले फिर से तू मैं गिर के उठा हूँ अभी हर चीज सिखाती है तू मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया 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 ख्वाहिश मेरी रह गई तुझसे मिलूं मैं कभी तुझको मैं प्यार दूं और बेशुमार दूं दिल तो जला है बहुत इसकी सजा है बहुत फिर भी तेरा ही रहा मेरी नहीं मानता जितना भी चाहूं तुम्हें मिलना है दर्द मुझे होता है क्या इस तरह कोई भी इश्क यहाँ तुम जो मेरी ना बनी, किसको बताता फिरूं ये दाग दिल अपना, किसको दिखाता फिरूं। वक्त बदलता है सबका, तुझको तो इसका पता था, फिर मुंह क्यों मोड़ गई थी, मुझको यूं छोड़ गई थी। साथ निभाना था मैंने, दिल भी जलाना था मैंने, फिर क्यों मेरी ना बनी थी और ये सजा बन गई थी। जिसको मैं जीता रहा था, ये दर्द पीता रहा था। ऐसी निशानी है तू, ऐसी कहानी है तू। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के रोया। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के रोया रोया रोया। अब इसके पार है तेरा मेरा ठिकाना, अब इसके पार है तेरा मेरा ठिकाना, अब इसके पार है फिर तुझसे दिल लगाना, अब इसके पार है।